more for you, you feel it. You know it. This is your life, and it's time to go from contender to champion. This is The Show with John Madsen.
Welcome back to the show, everybody. I'm your host, John Madsen. This is The Show. Excited to be back with you today. Last Friday, there was no episode. There was an episode. I interviewed my buddy and Super Bowl champion, and when we went to produce the episode, for whatever reason, the sound quality was terrible, and we just couldn't release it. So we're going to redo that interview, and it's going to come out in the next couple weeks. But today, I'm going to do my normal show, and you're going to get about 20 minutes of just me. So I want to thank you all for the continued support before we get into the episode, and just tell you that I appreciate you listening. There was a ton of direct messages on Instagram saying, John, where's the show, man? I look forward to it on Friday. And so I hate when I miss an episode, but I didn't have one for you. So here we are. Let's get going. Today, I want to talk about why so many people do not win. And I want to tell you, I ultimately want to give you permission on this episode. That's really what this episode is about. I want to give you permission to win at the highest level. And I know that you don't need permission. Ultimately, that permission has to come from within. I'll tell you a story about me and how I ultimately finally gave myself that permission, and how that one thing catapulted my life into a different hemisphere. Now, there's a lot of people out there that are winning a lot more than me, right? And when I talk about winning, I'm talking about winning in monetary. I'm talking about winning in experience. I'm talking about winning in fitness. Here's the greatest thing about life. No matter who you are, there's going to be somebody who's better looking than you, who's a little bit richer than you, who's a little bit more jacked than you, who looks a little bit better in a swimsuit. So unless you want to be the best in the world at every single little thing, and there's only one winner, and that means that everyone else is loser, that's a terrible way to think of it. I'm talking about winning as a way to experience all that this life has to offer. I've said on multiple podcasts that, look, at the end of the day, whether you have a couple Louis Vuitton bags stashed full of cash or you have nothing, we're all going to end up in the same place. That might be something for you to consider, right? And it can be taken one of two ways. Some of you look at that and said, okay, well, what's the point, right? If it doesn't matter, then why strive, right? And the other people, on the other hand, are looking at it like, damn, this is my only shot. I want to become something so great. It's worth every ounce of my energy. The pursuit of what I could become drives me. Because at the end of this, I want to look back and say that I tasted life. I tasted the greatness that was inside of me. I lit that flame and I kept it lit. Two different ways to look at it. So in this episode, when I talk about winning, what I'm really talking about, again, isn't winning against everybody or anybody else. Winning is chasing down the greatness that lives inside of you. Multiple times on the podcast, because I'm a parent of a beautiful 3-year-old daughter, I can look into her eyes and I see trueness. I see greatness. I see God. I see the universe. And I know if you're a parent, if you've really looked closely, if you've been present and you've been able to look past the stress and the adversity and all the other stuff, and you look at your babies, you see all of that inside of them. And then you realize that you were a baby born with the same shit, the same stuff, and that you have the universe inside of you. You have that greatness inside of you too. You possibly have just given up on it. And I know my audience. Here's a cool thing. A lot of you guys and girls reach out to me and will thank me on Instagram and say, John, thank you for saying that. It felt like you were speaking directly to me. It's because I know who I'm talking to. I'm not talking to the person really who is completely given up on this idea, because most of the times those people become cynical. They wouldn't listen to me talk. It would rub them the wrong way. You are listening right now, whether you're trying to get through a workout or get through your day at work, or you're just driving down and my voice is coming over those speakers and you're thinking that it's resonating because you're taking inventory right now. And you're wondering if you really are pursuing the greatest version of you or if you're coming up short. And it's not that you've made a conscious decision not to go for it. It's just that things come up. You get busy. You get busy parenting. You get busy trying to put food on the table. You get busy doing all the business stuff. That over time we just run on this loop and these patterns. And so you haven't really thought about ultimately what you truly want. And if you're pursuing that relentlessly on a daily basis, we all get caught up in this stuff. So this is a reminder to you right now, wherever you're at, and also a reminder to me. I'm talking in this episode about winning because as I've experienced a couple things in the last couple weeks. Number one, we hit a huge milestone in my business, and it was a monetary milestone, and it was a goal that I had. And I remember me and my wife, we were sitting in the hot tub at our Scottsdale home, and we were talking about this monetary goal. And she's like, what's going to happen when X? And I'm like, oh my God, when that happens, we're going to fly to Vegas. We're going to fly private, and we're going to do Vegas right. And I said it thinking that it would probably take, in a way, I thought maybe that goal's like a year from now. And that goal happened in like 3 months. And I was like, oh my God. Like, she's like, well, we got to do it. Remember what you said. And I said, absolutely. We're going to reward our hard work and our journey to this point. We're going to acknowledge that we had a goal and we visualized it, and now we're going to celebrate it. And when I experienced driving up to the private airport, not the normal airport, and I experienced going up and having a little cocktail and overlooking all these private planes and just thinking, man, this is a different experience. No lines. We got escorted up. They're like, hey, when your flight's ready, we're going to come get you. I'm like, oh, you mean we don't need to go there at a certain time or whatever? They're like, no, we'll come and get you. I'm like, okay, cool. So we have a little cocktail, and just like they said, they come back up, take us down the stairs. Our bags are already on the plane, and we get escorted right to the jet, 15 passenger jet. And I'm like, damn, I didn't even really go through security. They barely checked ID. This is wild, right? So we're on the plane. Obviously, you can drink cocktails. There's a little bit of food. This wasn't a long flight. It was literally from Scottsdale to Vegas. And so probably up in the air 40 minutes or so, super short. I actually wished it was longer because it was such a great experience. I'm 6'5". I had incredible amount of leg room. It was the most comfortable thing that I had ever experienced. When we touched down, because we rented a suite at the Aria Hotel, it came with free transportation. So I'm thinking, cool, they'll probably come pick us up in an SUV or whatever. I gave them the flight number. We get off the plane, come right down the stairs from the plane, and there's a limo from Aria with our names waiting to take us to the hotel. And I look at my wife with our bags already in hand, and I'm like, gosh, damn it. Oh my God, this feels so good to travel like this. Fast forward the weekend, we come back from Vegas to Scottsdale, same plane. We touch down, and they have our car. They have our car right there. Pull out our bags. Our car is right on the right by the plane. We just go home. Super simple. Super extravagant. That feeling is like, I want to bottle that feeling up, and I want to fucking feel it all the time, right? So there's that experience. One of my best friends is getting married, so we were at the W Hotel in Scottsdale, and it's like a full-blown pool party, right? Full-blown pool party, and it's incredible to me how many people just don't give a fuck about what they look like, right? And so for me, like, part of my business is obviously fitness, but I chose that path a long time ago. I take pride in being a 1%er, especially in fitness, right? Especially in fitness. And so if we take this idea of like 1%, there's literally hundreds of people, and I can with pride just be like really fucking proud of the way that I look and feel, right? And I'm giving you two different scenarios, the experience of travel and then this other experience of just having fun and being completely in love with the way that you look and feel. And this concept of winning in both of your in both your body and your business and all the other aspects of your life. Winning. The reason most people don't win at a really high level is because they settle. I had an Instagram post the other day, and a lot of people were commenting back and forth and even direct messaging me about it, because this concept that I'm going to talk about really, really is something that you need to consider. The people who win want to win. It's as simple as that. I had this conversation with one of my elite members that I coach. This guy does a lot of business, a lot of millions. And he's like, John, he went from like 270 pounds to like 229, right? And he's like, John, I got to find that next gear now, right? Because the hardest part for you listening to this episode is to make the jump from really good to fucking elite. From good enough to elite. What's the difference? Well, the difference is focus 100%. That's part of it. But there's this level of want. There's this level of want. And ultimately, your level of success is going to stop right where your level of want stops. Want can be substituted for desire. The people who win want to win. They want that feeling. The feeling that I tried to have you imagine, if you could literally close your eyes and feel what it would feel like to fly private and to not do the bullshit that 99% of people do, and to experience a different way. The people who do that don't feel bad about it. They don't feel bad about wanting it. In fact, they make it a goal and then they go for it. They make it a goal and then they go for it. And so the people who win, they know what they want and they don't feel bad for wanting. The tricky part here, and this is where I was going deep with a lot of my coaching clients and even into my direct messages, is so many people find virtue in struggle. And I was one of these people. They find virtue in adversity. And because they're virtuous about it, they're out of alignment in actually going for the things that they kind of think they want, but ultimately feel a different way about it. This whole game is alignment. Winners win because they're aligned. Winners win because they want to win. If you want to be elite in your body, you got to want that eliteness in your body. Why everybody else or a lot of other people could say like, I don't know why he cares so much about his body. Like, he's so vain. I'm like, actually, I'm going to walk around at this pool party with bricks for abs because I give a fuck about it and I'm okay saying it. I don't feel bad about wanting it. People who make a lot more money than I do don't feel bad about wanting even more. We get fucked up in our belief systems because we're constantly playing this needs versus wants game. People find virtue in wanting nothing or acting like they don't want anything. But it's not that, because what they're doing is they're settling at a certain point. Think about this. If a person, this happens a lot, okay? So I want you to imagine you're in a nice house. It has all the rooms, like you're perfectly happy there, right? It could be for your forever home right now. There's this idea that some people have that if they want a bigger house, that there's something greedy about that there's something dirty about it. And they feel shame for wanting it. And if you feel shame or greedy about it, guess what you're never going to do? If you consciously have a goal to make more money, but you feel greedy for wanting more, guess what unconsciously you're going to do? You're going to sabotage your ultimate ability to succeed at the highest level because you're not congruent with it. If you feel like wanting a bigger house or a nicer house or a house in a nicer neighborhood, and it comes with being like, that little twinge of guilt. Or maybe you feel like if just by wanting it, it means you're ungrateful for what you have. You're equating things that shouldn't be equated. I said this in one of my other episodes, and I know I feel like I'm saying a lot of the same stuff, but I hope this one hits a little bit different. At some point, your level of want stops and you get what you tolerate. Because whatever house you're living in now is the house you're tolerating. Meaning, at a certain point, if I said, okay, cool, you don't want any more and you don't need anything else, would you settle for a 2-bedroom, 1,500 square foot house in a shitty neighborhood? And you'd be like, fuck no. No way. I got kids. We need a little bit of space. They need to go to a good school. I wouldn't tolerate living in that neighborhood. And so I'm like, okay, so in that situation, you wanted more, so you're here, but here's good enough for you. Here's good enough for you because you tolerate here, and then you got the good school and you got, 2,500 or 3,500 square feet and you got a nice little neighborhood. Wanting extravagant makes you feel a certain way. And I don't care if you feel like this is right or wrong or however your belief system happened. I'm telling you right now, if you want to win, you have got to go to war with those belief systems that are holding you back. Because winners don't feel like that. The people who actually make it don't feel like that. They want what they want. They could be absolutely happy with what they need. They could be happy just where you are, but they want more anyways. And they don't want it for more happiness. They just want it because they want it. All of this stuff that's like, more of this won't make you happy, or more of this will bog you down. Or I heard this one this weekend, mo money, mo problems. And I'm like, those belief systems, something as simple as that would come out, would hold you back from making more money because you believe, or you wouldn't have said it, that if you had more money, you'd have more problems. I don't know. I don't experience that. I have a lot less problems with more money. So you have to attack your belief systems all the time, especially if you want to be successful. You have to be congruent and aligned with success if you're ever going to experience it. If you feel a certain way about it that's negative, unconsciously, you're going to sabotage yourself and you're going to stop and tolerate at whatever level is sufficient for you. You'll get to that house that's just good enough and you don't know how to make the extra leap. This is hard, right? Because some of you are sitting here thinking, you're like, okay, well, is this life just a rat race then? Are you always going to want more and more and more and more and more and more? You're thinking about it wrong. The right way to think about it is this pursuit. There's a science to success. There's an art to fulfillment. There are some people that could get bogged down by chasing the next shiny thing. I just want more. And ultimately they burn out, right? Or at some point they realize, what's this all for? There's other people, and this is what drives me. Okay. So I'm not going to tell you one way is right and one way is wrong. I'm just talking to you through this microphone right now. If you're looking at me and you're like, John, I want to win too. The thing that I'm going to tell you is winners want to win. So you're going to have to be okay with wanting more than you have right now. And you're going to have to be okay with being unapologetic about wanting more. Now, the trick is as you're pursuing it, the journey is the gift. Becoming all that you could be drives you. Becoming less than you could be is a slap in the face to the universe. If you adopt that belief system, you have this unique ability to strive and stretch and grow and feel alive while doing it, but at the same time being present in the pursuit to just go out there and lay brick day after day after day. There's a hurry in a sense because you want it, but there's also a presence about you that lets it happen. This was really profound to me because I realized a couple years ago, probably 2 years ago almost, that if I won at the highest level, I wouldn't be relatable, that I might lose some friends or people would look at me in a different light, or they would say, oh my God, John's changed. So I had this unconscious yearning to talk about adversity and struggle and how I could overcome it just enough so that people would like me and relate to that story. I've done a couple different episodes on this, but I want this one to hit. You have to give yourself permission to win. When I gave myself permission to win and to talk about winning and to talk about being elite and to not give a fuck what people thought about that and to be completely okay with wanting more or being completely okay with being like, damn, yeah, I got a private jet on my vision board. It's not today, but it's going to happen. And I got really in touch with what I actually wanted. And not only in touch, vaguely, but very specific, like coordinates on a map where I know exactly what I want to experience, how I want to live in this body. Those things started to show up because within I was congruent. I wanted what I wanted, and that wanting doesn't allow me to settle right where I'm at. See, I'm happy either way. Happiness is a state of mind. I'm happy 5 years ago. I'm happy today. And I'll be happy 10 years from now. When you learn to anchor that feeling and understand that happiness is happiness, but striving to be the best that you could possibly be is a magnetic pull to get the greatness out of you, that's when magic happens. I want you to think about the person that you could become, the person that had no limits, the person that was an elite level of fitness year round, the person that did set really high goals and hit them. What could you become if you went to work on yourself? What could you become if you allowed yourself to want to become more? That's what I want you to pursue.
Thank you so much for joining us for another amazing episode of The Show with John Madsen. The greatest compliment that you could give us is liking, loving, and sharing this episode with all of your friends. So please go to iTunes, leave us a 5-star rating and review, and then share it online with everyone that you know. Make sure to tag John as well. He loves to hear from listeners of the show. The links for all of his socials and iTunes are in the show notes. Also, If you'd like to engage John for anything related to his coaching, consulting, or programs, please visit johnmadsen.com for everything you'd need to know on how to engage with John offline. And lastly, thank you for your time, your attention, and your consideration. This is the show.